What's up, what's up? It's your boy Corey B. So what I want to talk about today is getting back to the basics. You know what I'm saying? It's goal planning. Goal planning and, implementing in the orientation of your goals. You've got to have a plan and a goal for your future. We, especially when we're younger, we get these ideas like we're like, okay, well, we want this or we want that, but we never really take the time to really think about how we're going to get there or implement actual steps. And a lot of times our goals are too short-sighted. And that just comes from lack of experience and things like that. And I was there. We've all been there. If you haven't been there, you might be there right now. So that's what I want to talk about, is just the idea of finding your goal, making a concrete goal, and then working towards it. When I was younger, like having perspective about, I remember I had a buddy of mine, me and him, we had these ideas of, oh, we're gonna own our own business, and we're gonna grow and develop, and we're gonna start this business, we're gonna start that business. And honestly, we had like lots of ideas. He had ideas, I had ideas. But her ultimate goal, we both had daughters. We both had daughters. We were both single dads with daughters in situations that we were ultimately trying to make a better life for ourselves, and have plans for the future for our little girls. And we didn't particularly like the situation that our little girls were in at the time. And with all that being said, that sounds like a good plan, but we didn't really have an actual plan. It was just like, oh, we just want to do this and it's just gonna work. Then we had like, I remember him telling me one day, he was like, you know what? He's like, we're gonna get all this done, and by the time I'm 35, I'm gonna have a Ferrari and I'm be retired, and I'm be sitting back, watching my daughter grow up and make sure that I'm prepared. When she brings a boy home, I'm gonna have plenty of time and attention to, make sure everything's on the up and up, and things like that. And it's like, the thing is those things, that's a very flimsy plan. It's very flimsy. You just gotta have concrete goals. Okay, so me and Kimberly, we're working towards things right now. We're gonna get our own house. We're working towards that. We're getting debt paid off. We both have student loan debt that's still not completely paid off. I went to UT, and UT is expensive. And I know some people knock on going to college because it gets you in debt and this and that. I do not. I am not one of those people. I wish I'd made wiser choices and maybe taken out less loans than I did, and maybe just budgeted my money a little bit better, and things like that. So if you're not aware, that's something you need to be aware of. If you're going into college and you are taking out loans or things like that, you can reject loans. And not only can you reject loans, but you can say, if they offer you, hey, I'll give you $1,400, you can say, really only need $1,000. Really only need $800. It's like you can decline a portion of said loan. Which when I was first getting started, they were like, hey, we'll give you this amount of money. And I was like, alright, you're going to give me this amount of money. This is going to help me, handle things and make sure that I don't have anything to worry about. And I can, continue. No. I was not planning well. I was not actually thinking about, what do I really need? What is the bare minimum that I need from them to get by? Can I really get by without a loan? Can I really get by with smaller of a loan? Is this going to help me with my books? Is this going to help me with my tuition? Or do I really need this to help me get by on living? I didn't think about any of that. I was just like, okay, they're going to give me money. I got plenty of time to pay it back. No. Think about it. Allow it to marinate. Like, really formulate your plan. So if you want to go to college, these are things to think about. If college isn't for you, nothing wrong with that either. Like I said, I'm a fan of college. I loved my experience. I majored in psychology. and I I wouldn't trade anything that I did, absolutely not. It was just incredible. An incredible experience. I learned so much. Some people have gone to college and said they didn't learn anything. That's unfortunate for them. They did not get a good experience, and that's really unfortunate. I had a great experience. Like I said, it's just a matter of making plans and making the most out of your situation. So then, what is your plan right now? Have you already finished school? If you've already finished school, what's the next step? Are you with someone? Are you planning a future with someone? With a boyfriend, a girlfriend, a fiance? Are you already married? Do you already have children? Where are you now? And where do you want to be? Okay, and let's make concrete goals when you're thinking about that. Not like, oh, well, I just want things to, I want to not have to worry about money. Okay, everybody doesn't want to have to worry about money, but that's not a concrete goal. Not having to worry about money is not a concrete goal. I think about a lot of these things when I look at my daughter right now. My daughter is now married. Your boy is a grandpa. Any of y'all who don't know, I've mentioned it a couple of times, but it's not something I talk about all the time because it's normally not as relevant to the things that I speak about on here when I'm trying to help people. As a grandpa, you kind of just get the benefit of playing with them and having fun and spoiling them or things like that. You don't have to. You want to be a positive influence on your grandkids, but your influence is much smaller, and it's a completely different interaction. So I don't talk about it as much as I talk about, being a dad, because being a dad, I have such responsibilities. I've got a responsibility to provide. I've got a responsibility to set them up for success as much as I'm trying to succeed myself. I've got to set my kids up for success. And y'all have got to be thinking about that. If you don't have kids, if you have kids already, these are things you need to implement. If you don't have kids, but you're planning to have kids, be thinking about this. Where are you going to be? Do you have things in place? I think about this, like I said, just talking about my daughter. I kind of got sidetracked. But talking about my daughter and the fact that she is married now. And she's young. She's incredibly young. She's young and she's married. And her husband is incredibly young. And they have two kids. Two. They have two kids, and they're trying to figure out things in their life. They're trying to figure out, what the career path is for them, how to make ends meet, how to, be able to financially provide for their little ones, how to, keep a roof over their head, make sure their bills are paid, and have some leisurely cash in their pockets, things like that. It's like, these are the things that a lot of times you take for granted when you're younger and you don't think about until it's like, okay, now I got a kid and I just paid my bills and I got jack in my pocket. Okay, that's not where you want to be. Okay, and you don't want to be in that position not only because you can't have a good time and you can't do those extra things you want to do with your kids, but you also, if you've got nothing in your pockets, that means you got nothing that you're putting back either. Or maybe you do. Maybe you're already thinking about those lines. There's a completely different perspective from someone who, oh, well, I'm broke, but I got, $2,000 in my savings account. Yeah, that is wise. I'm broke. I have $2,000 in my savings account. That is savings for something. I'm formulating I'm building up my emergency fund. I'm formulating plans for my future for the kids or for whatever. But I am cash broke. I got nothing to, I'm not going out this weekend. I'm not taking the kids to McDonald's. I'm not doing that because I am broke. To someone who says, well, I've got, $150. That's what I got because that's what my bank account says. These are decisions that you need to be making. These are things that you need to be, contemplating. Just when you're managing your money and when you're, taking steps. And this is something, I was listening to a thing with, one of Dan Locke's podcast just the other day, and he got me thinking about it because he was talking about the idea of entrepreneurs not managing their money. And it's a true thing. I've been there. And he talked about his experiences. He's been there. He talked about, I don't know if any of y'all know Dan Locke, but if you don't know, he's great. He's absolutely a great guy to listen to. But he's talked about it many times. I've heard him on many different occasions speak about the fact that he's he ran like 13 different businesses. 13 businesses. All of them had nothing to show for it except for more debt. He lost money on all of them. I myself, I think I'm just around the 10 mark. I've initiated, me and my homeboy that I spoke about earlier. We had all these different plans, and we worked. We invested some money and tried to do this, and we invested some money and tried to do that, and then this would make us a little bit of money, and we'd take the little bit that we had. We'd be like, okay, we just made this. Let's take it. Let's put it over here, and it's like, that's, that can be fruitful, but it can also wipe out everything you have. Because when you take everything from here and put it all into that, if this isn't fruitful, then you've just lost everything. And if this is your first fruit of this particular, venture, do you know if this is viable, or was that fluke? We experienced that several times. We experienced that several times where we just took what, our initial first fruit, and we're like, we got to take this and we got to run with it. We got to get something else going. Because we wanted to have our hands everywhere. We wanted so many things going. But as we tried to get too many things going at once, all of them fizzled. All of them fizzled. All of them failed. All of them flopped. We had partners that bailed out. There was things that he lost interest in. I found myself putting time, effort, money, sleepless nights, putting everything I had into things that I was by myself. I found myself by myself. And that's where you can't be. You definitely can't find yourself, all alone in your business venture. You can't find yourself all alone in an opportunity in which you had a partner. So you got to be mindful of the partner you're working with. You got to be mindful and upfront with each other about the plans that you have and the goals that you have for said business. Okay, so we're building this business. This is what we want. This is where it's going to start. This is what's going to be next. This is going to be this, and this is going to be that. And, sometimes those are a little harder to work out, so they take a little time. But you need to have a plan before you're like, let's kick it off. If you don't have a plan, what you're going to end up with is nothing. You're going to end up with debt, time lost, energy spent, and then you're going to be like, well, now I just lost a year of my life, and I just burnt it out on that, and that did nothing for me. I had this other guy that I worked with off and on for a long time. Actually, a family member. I spoke about him many times. But me and him worked together so many times, and I helped him grow his business. And as I helped him grow his business, see, to me, I always look back at this as this definitely wasn't a loss. It was a learning experience, because I learned so much of the things not to do. I learned so much of the things that you can grow and develop. I learned so much about interacting with other people and working with their business opposed to just my own. And I learned things about that, and that's a completely different concept when you're working with someone with their business, because I do consulting and I do coaching, and this is something that I've been doing for a good while now, but having had that experience working with him really helped teach me how to do that, because I worked with him so much on his business, but at the end of the day I had to keep telling myself, this isn't my business. I advise, I help, I assist, I aid, but at the end of the day, all of it is his call. All of it's his call, and it's his money, and it's his time, and it's his business. So I can put what I can into it, but it's his. And when you got a partner, it's a completely different aspect. When you got a partner and you're both giving and taking and pulling, and it's like, at the end of the day, you want to give everything you've got, because this is not just his, this is y'all's. So if it isn't fruitful, it isn't viable, you've got nothing, just like he's got nothing. So the thing is entrepreneurs have this, they have this problem where, we get tunnel vision. We're looking at this, I'm trying to make money, I'm trying to make money, I'm trying to make money. And it's like you get that thing, like even more successful entrepreneurs than me when I was struggling and failing and just trying to figure things out. Even ones who are really successful and they're making, 6 figures, and they're like, well, I'm making all this money. And that's great. That's great. They're making all this money. But what are they doing with that money? Because a lot of times what they'll do is they'll keep making all that money, and it's like you've got to be figuring out, well, what are you spending? What is your overhead on said business? I had a buddy who's just incredible. He was right up the road, actually that way, but he was right up the road, and he was a great entrepreneur. Really, really ambitious person. I met him when I was rebuilding the engine of my car. He rebuilt the engine of my car for me. I blew my engine and he rebuilt it. He was a mechanic. He was a mechanic who owned his own shop and had multiple people working under him. And then he, started selling a couple of cars, and he got a dealer's license and was able to get into the auctions, and he started buying cars, and he put cars in front of his place, and he just grew from there. He grew, and as he started selling more cars, then he bought the restaurant that was right behind his shop. He bought the restaurant behind his shop, and as he bought the restaurant behind his shop, then he was able to turn that restaurant into a car dealership. So he had a car dealership, he had the shop, then next door was this Subway. He bought the land that the Subway was on and was renting it back to Subway. So Subway stayed there, but he owned the land and was collecting rent from them. He owned the land that the little dealership was on, and he owned the dealership, and he owned the shop, but didn't own that little corner that the shop was on. And they kept jacking up the rent, and he said it was a huge liability for him because it was the overhead on that shop was excruciating. But he was able to sell so many more cars because he always offered them a guarantee with his cars. He was like, I can fix anything, and you get a 1-year guarantee if you finance all repairs are free. You only have to pay for parts. So he had this business model that worked. It worked for him. It worked in his head. It worked for his system. But he always would talk to me about how the cost of the shop was just, it killed him, and or the cost of the land for the shop, the rent. And he was like, I wish I could just let it go, but I need that shop because it kept his other business fruitful. And so it's like, this is the thing that, a lot of entrepreneurs don't continue to think about is the overhead, and is it a necessary cost, or is it just a liability? He has since sold that place. He has since moved, and now he's got another place, and way cheaper, way more space. He's doing great. So proud of him and so happy for him, my man. But see, the thing is he, just grew all this by being smart and thinking each step out. If you don't think each step out, you're not gonna know. You're not going to have a plan, and things are going to snowball. They're going to get out of control, and you're not going to have a handle on your money. And before you know it, you've spent more than you're making. You're making 6 figures, but you're spending 6 figures. It doesn't matter. And the thing is with entrepreneurs also, like, people get this idea who aren't entrepreneurs who but want to be. It's like, oh, well, you work for yourself, and this is so great, and blah blah blah, and you got all this money coming in, and this, yeah, but you've got to manage it. Because you're not getting a every 2-week paycheck. You're not getting a 2-week paycheck. You're getting, you're getting money as it comes, and you've got to invest it back into your business wisely. You've got to manage it, and you've got to think about your future, about investing into other things. It's just the idea of being aware of what is going on, where you are now, and where you want to be. And some people just don't take the time. They don't realize how important it is to just take a moment and figure out where you are, where you want to be, and how are you going to get there. Let's get those concrete goals. Let's say, this is the business that I'm working on, this is what I want. Or maybe you're not working on a business, maybe you're working on a career, and that's fine. I talk to a lot of entrepreneurs. I have a lot of entrepreneurs who follow me, a lot of business-minded people, but that does not mean that that's the only people that I can help. That's not the only path for anybody. Obviously, everybody's got to make their own path, and if you've got a different one, doesn't mean that these things aren't applicable to you as well. My daughter and her husband are not entrepreneurs. That's not even the mindset that they want. And that's good. That's fine. I mean, that's fine. If they want to be entrepreneurs, we'll absolutely help them. My wife's owned her own business, and I've owned several. I've got a very thriving business right now, but I've had several that failed, and I've learned so much, and that's why I went into coaching and consulting, because I want to help people who are facing those particular obstacles and those challenges and things themselves as they try to build and develop their business, and they don't realize the things that are holding them back. Since I've experienced a lot of those things, I want to be able to help them before they get themselves in a hole like I did. With all of that being said, I'd like to just kind of sum it up. I'm gonna continue this dialogue. I want to just kind of elaborate on this in the coming posts that I make to y'all, in the coming videos in the coming days. So I'm gonna touch on this more, but I just want to this is the big introduction, and it's kind of long, and so I hope y'all stay tuned, and I hope you heard me out, and I hope this is you find helpful. And like I said, basically I just want you to take some time, really figure out where you're at and where you want to go, and then let's start making some steps. If y'all got comments, y'all got questions, y'all got anything specific that, hey, how can I do this, or what about this, or do you know somebody else who, do you got a book or anything, like, hit me up, hit me up, put your comments below. A lot of y'all message me directly. Y'all can catch me on IG. You can get me at beingcoreybayless.com. So leave your comments below, hit that like button, give your boy some love, make sure and subscribe, ding that bell, and get your notifications. And let's keep doing it, let's keep growing together. And if y'all have any suggestions or recommendations for me of something, hey, Corey, have you heard this? You should listen to it. Or, hey, have you read this book? Check it out. Go ahead and drop those comments below, because they might be helpful to me. They might also be helpful for some of the other viewers and people that are tuned in right now. So we all got to keep lifting each other up and keep finding ways to grow and, further our knowledge. Until next time, y'all get cocky. It's your boy Corey B, and I'm out.